During the 16 Days of Action 2022 campaign,
Gosa Girls on Fire and Tech Shack Tactical TV interview ordinary but outstanding women.
Hashtag I am every woman.
In our interviews, we honor outstanding businesswomen who have made a difference in their specific sphere of society to ladies who have overcome horrific gender-based violence incidences.
We believe in action, not activism.
Why are women continually cast as helpless victims?
Bystanders to their own fate, presuming that victimhood is a fait accompli. We are not simply deer in the headlights of gender-based violence.
We can and will stand up for ourselves.
We are not second-class citizens who need special days and men standing up for us.
We say no more.
Activism does not change the minds of predators.
Predators will always be predators, waiting in the dark to claim their victims. Standing on street corners with placards saying that we are against gender-based violence has and never alone make a difference. Take action now, not to be a victim, and be a strong woman. Do not put your trust in anybody else except yourself. Take the example from the strong women in these interviews and be a warrior. Hashtag victim no longer.
Lynette Oxley here for Tech Shack Tactical TV and for Gosa Girls on Fire. I'm here with Cal. Can I call you Cal rather than Kelly? Humphries in Australia.
Much appreciated. I only get called Kelly when I'm in trouble.
Yes, I think my mom used to call me Lynette, and then I knew that I was in trouble because the intonation on the name used to be quite bad. Any case, Cal, tell me a little bit about your journey, how you got to where you are today, and why you're involved with what you are involved with.
Well, my name's Kelly Humphries, and I guess I don't want to say how old I am exactly, but I think my mother's given me youthful skin, so I'm sitting at 40 at the moment. But in the last 15 years, I've been very heavily advocating in the child protection space. And I'm a survivor myself of child sexual abuse. So that's how I am here right now. My journey obviously didn't start there, but that is what I'm doing now. So, my experience is probably very common, but not commonly spoken about. And so I've made it my mission to, really bring child sexual abuse out into the open, particularly the child abuse that's happening behind the closed doors that we're not talking about. And made it my mission to really just open that space up to bring hope, hopefully some healing, to let people know they're not alone, to break these cycles, and very heavily advocating for education, check your behaviours and those types of things. And I've written my own book, I do lots of speaking, I try to stay active, play very bad guitar.
Yeah, we just talked about the guitar in the background, something that you noticed straight away. South Africa is also, I think it's a worldwide problem, child abuse and child sexual abuse. We've got a really low conviction rate. I know you're also involved in the police itself. How's things in that regard in Australia? How's your conviction rate? But that's when people actually speak up.
Yeah, look, it's really hard to say because the statistics only show what we know, and I think it's more common than, we'd like to think. It doesn't matter where you are. I think Australia is very fortunate that we've come a long way, but I think for the rest of the world, there's still a lot of work to be done. Everywhere there's a lot of work to be done, but particularly, in our third world nations and things like that, they're quite behind. There's a lot of trafficking, child exploitation and abuse that still continues to occur. We are getting better. Nations, communities, governments are getting better at working together. And I think that that's a positive, but nothing will happen fast enough. We need these things to be happening much quicker. Obviously, as always, the more time we take, the more children are exposed to, predators and sexual violence, particularly in the online space now. I do believe Australia is on the cutting edge and leading a lot of the child exploitation space online. We have the Australian Federal Police and the ACE, who work with international partnerships to stop child sexual abuse online and child exploitation material, etc. So, you know, there's a lot of work being done, but there's always work to be done. So, you know, it takes everybody. So, yeah.
So my campaign, or the Girls on Fire campaign, is about action, not activism, because I think, you know, the people out there that's actually saying stop child abuse are not the abusers. They're not the perpetrators that's sitting in the darkness. I think what you and other people are doing is to actually just start speaking up, because if you speak up and this is not kept quiet, if you can get other people to actually come out of that darkness, we can do something about child abuse, sexual abuse.
Yeah. Well, you know, shame exists in the darkness, doesn't it? So, you know, start to bring it out. It reduces that shame that victims feel, you know, when they are talking about their experiences. So we must encourage safe spaces across the world. You know, no matter where we are, what you know, corner of the continent or country that we are in. You know, providing safe spaces for our women and our families, particularly who've been through child sexual abuse or any traumatic experience, is essential. You know, safety is essential, and being believed. You know, it's one thing to find the courage to finally speak up about, you know, your experience, but then the people that you love and care about, for them not to believe you is very traumatic and very difficult. So if there's anyone who's listening to this, you know, the first thing I say is please believe those people that are speaking out, your children. You know, 98% of children who do disclose child sexual abuse are shown to be telling the truth. And, you know, it is up to us to provide those safe spaces, to have safe conversations, so very brave conversations. It's very difficult to talk about child sexual abuse. You know, Absolutely. So we must be providing spaces, you know, where children can feel safe to do that.
Your memoir was Unscathed Beauty. So
yes.
two very interesting. So I'm sure that is available online. So if any of the viewers want to have a look at it, probably online, available through Amazon. Am I correct?
You can just put it in Google and it comes up in many different distribution channels. So yeah.
Okay. Tell me why unscathed and why beauty? It's interesting words. Sorry, I just caught my eye.
Yeah, look, I grew up very innocently, very much in the country, in the outback of Australia, in the bush. You know, it was fun and innocent and beautiful. You know, it was happy. I had a happy childhood up until the time the child sexual abuse started, and my perpetrator was my uncle. He was very close to our family, and I was sexually abused from the age of 8 up until 15. So I kept my silence for quite some time up until I was 19, and then I told my parents what was happening, and, you know, then went to the police, etc. And he was convicted, charged, and spent some time in prison, which is a good ending to the story, I guess, but it's not where it stops. And a lot of people, they don't particularly understand what a survivor goes through. They don't understand the lifelong impacts, and I don't think for a second the perpetrator even thinks about what they're doing and how it impacts a survivor for the rest of their life. And you know, the unscathed beauty part is the fact that it doesn't matter what that perpetrator has done to you. It doesn't matter what trauma you've experienced or how much pain you've gone through. We each have that beautiful innocence inside of us, that beautiful, you know, little girl even, or, you know, that happy, innocent place. And no one can take that from you. It doesn't matter how much trauma you've experienced, because that's your heart and that's your soul. And so unscathed beauty means simply everything you are in spite of all that's happened to you. So, you know, it's very, everything has meaning, the colours, you know.
Absolutely.
The pictures on there, but you know, for those who are out there who have a story, you know, that part of you doesn't get stolen. It might get lost. It's up to us to find it, you know.
And that is, I think, the difference. I've spoken to quite a couple of ladies here in South Africa recently. And if you actually, that's the other thing that I actually wanted to ask you in one of your recent articles on a Christmas, and you said, I have to choose joy. And you have to choose joy because you can maybe go into a little bit more depth about that. But one of my interviews that really disturbed me yesterday is a young lady that was raped by 8 men. And the justice system did not help her. And she was very confused about what was happening. And I don't know. That is what upset me yesterday. Is I don't think she's going to find that joy again. And if you can't find that joy again, that person has actually won everything. They've taken more than just your body from you.
Yeah, look, it's a hard one to comment on because you can't measure trauma. You know, I spend a lot of time speaking to people about their trauma, and it depends a lot on our relative experience as to what and how much something will affect us. You know, but joy is a choice, I think, a lot of times, but it's also putting yourself into places where the people around you are loving and caring and supportive and can continue to, you know, walk with you through your healing journey. You know, one incident doesn't determine the rest of your life. Even multiple incidents don't determine the rest of your life. Yes, there are scars. Yes, our body and our brains change as a result of trauma, particularly over a long period of time. But that doesn't have to be the end of the story. You know, and I think we can be made new. And, you know, for those who are, you know, of faith, it may be a faith belief or an understanding of being made new. And if you're not a person of faith, you can make choices by understanding your passion, your purpose, your vision, and putting your energy into things that are really important to you. For me, my advocacy helps me heal. I also know that for myself, it's also a faith journey for myself. I knew for a long time, since I was a child, that this is what I was meant to do. I was meant to speak about this. I was meant to help other people, and I've held on to that vision. It's also a vision that sustained me through the trauma. And so I think when we spend the time to learn about what's important to us, about potentially even helping other people in the same situation, being able to speak about it, finding safe people to be in our environment with us, safe places. It's very difficult for many people that will still be in the environment that, you know, they were harmed in. For example, you know, if it was a child who was abused by a parent or a caregiver, they continue to live in the same home where they were abused and expect to be able to be healed or to be able to move forward in that environment. It's very difficult. You know, so moving to a new environment, safe people, where you can heal and get focused, you know, put your passion and your energy into things that are important to you. Because it's not the end. The trauma is not the end of the road. You get to choose, you know, and healing can happen. Yeah.
And it can only happen much later. You actually did something about it quite early on at the age of 18, where somebody only started doing something when they're 32 years old for something that happened to them as children.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think healing happens as we're moving through our life cycle anyway. We don't always realize it. But I didn't choose to heal until I wrote my book, really. I just ignored it, you know? And you just get on with things. That's just the way we are. We're survivors. All of us are survivors in our own right. We just get on with it. But when we want to be better and grow and, you know, become our best selves, we then have to start to look at our triggers, and we have to start to look at our relationships and what's holding us back. Because we pretty soon realize that not making those choices to confront the things that are hurting us is actually keeping us in a box. You know, and it might look like numbness, and it might look like, you know, feelings of like you're not achieving something, or that there's more for you out there, or you're in a relationship but it's not a positive relationship, or potentially if you haven't done the work to do the healing, you're attracting somebody in that relationship who's quite toxic. So trauma, obviously, when you experience trauma and you don't do the work, tends to mean that you find other people who've experienced trauma who haven't done the work, right? So then we have trauma bonding, and then we have domestic violence, and then we have emotionally abusive relationships. So I guess the point is, do the work, get healed, be really strong about it, and be really committed to the fact that, you know, you deserve the absolute best. You deserve to be fully loved. You deserve to be able to live in complete freedom. That's your right. That's your right.
Absolutely.
But if we don't step into our healing, even though it's hard, and it's hard every day, and it's hard in the small moments and in the big moments, but we have to do that for our children and our future relationships, because that's what breaking the cycle looks like. It's not going to come from a court system. It's not going to come from police. Sometimes these things help, but worldwide that looks very different. Our police are brilliant here, but not always effective, but most of the time they're effective. I'm a police officer, right?
I just wanted to ask you what...
Yeah, across the world it looks very...
Our police is unfortunately not great. They're not effective, and our conviction rate of anything, of any crimes, are extremely low. Why did you go into law enforcement? Was that a positive choice that you made because of your past, or did it just happen?
A little bit of both. I had amazing police in my life. And when I say that, I grew up in a small town, and our police in our local town were very community orientated. So we spent a lot of time with them. They knew us, and you know, they were very supportive of us. So, you know, it was good. And I was like, well, if they can do that for the community, then I can do that for the community. And when I disclosed my child sexual abuse to a detective, they did an amazing investigation. They did a great job. And, you know, I thought, why not? So, among the...
Maybe just ending off then, can I ask you if you've got, for our viewers that's in this situation, what would your message be for the 16 days? Now, I've changed the 16 days of the United Nations, 16 days of activism against no violence against women and children. I've changed it since 2015 to 16 days of action, because I believe that you need to do something rather than just do activism, rather do action. What would your message be for my viewers out there?
Oh, look, there's so many things I could say, but I think the biggest thing is you can't change the status quo by yourself. You know, it's about your communities and your government agencies coming together and working together to create change. It doesn't happen on your own. You can't do that. The other part is safe spaces and safe people. Healing can only happen when you find the people that know you, love you, and trust you, or that you trust, that are able to support you and help you move through your healing journey. So if those people are in your world and they say, I don't believe that happened, or I don't believe you, or, you know, whatever, whoever it is, they're not your people. They are not your people. So you just have, you have to be really brave sometimes and say, do you know what? This is not okay for me. So just be strong in yourself and be willing to set your boundaries and say no. Remember, your body is your own. It doesn't belong to anybody else. You don't have to apologize to your abuser. You don't have to forgive them. You don't have to do anything that anybody tells you to do. You know, so just be brave in yourself and be brave in the small moments, but do your work, do the healing now, so that you can break the cycle for your family and your future relationships.
I believe we all have some warrior in us, so you know, fight for your rights. Exactly. That's me. Any case, thank you very, very much for speaking to us, and I will put links to your book in our comments for the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for talking to us, and have a good evening. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I've got a podcast starting soon for survivors and the leaders who support them. So starting next year, only because I don't think that there's much out there for survivors of child abuse. So, and I should have said it earlier, sorry, I forgot, but, it will be called Off the Cuff with Kel, and it will be free. You'll be able to listen to it anywhere, but it won't probably start until early next year. So that's just something to look forward to.
Yes, and please just when you have done it and it's on there out there, please just send us the link and we'll share it with us, because we're going to do this throughout the year. We are doing two stories per day for the 16 days, but we are going to continue doing this throughout the year. So we want to share with what resources are available out there for people.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Cal. Have a good evening, and I'll have a good day.
Beautiful.
Cheers for now. Thank you very much. Cheers.
I'm a girl on fire. I'm not a victim. A girl on fire. I'll stand my ground. Girl on fire. I've made a choice. I stand proud. I'm a girl on fire. I'm a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend. I'm every woman. I have taken up arms and I choose to defend all that I hold dear. Independent and strong, you will not keep me down. You can't break me. I'm a girl on fire. I'm not a victim. A girl on fire. I'll stand my ground. Girl on fire. I've made a choice. I stand proud. Countless hours on the range, I am responsibly armed. I am your equal. I've empowered myself. I have practiced and trained. Fear won't control me. With my sisters in arms, we will make ourselves heard. We'll stand together. I'm a girl